In one of the most remarkable private recovery missions in modern history, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has successfully led a deep sea expedition that retrieved parts of the legendary Apollo F-1 rocket engines, the massive machines that helped launch astronauts toward the moon in the 1960s and 1970s. These engines had been sitting nearly 3 miles beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean for over 40 years, lost to history until Bezos and his team found them. The recovery site? Roughly 360 miles off the coast of Cape Canaveral, Florida, the same region where these rockets first took flight. Using deep sea sonar and remotely operated vehicles, Bezos' expedition mapped the ocean floor and then spent over 3 weeks carefully maneuvering mechanical arms to recover some of the most iconic hardware in aerospace history. The result was a haul of corroded but unmistakable artifacts: thrust chambers, engine nozzles, fuel turbines, and heat exchangers, the very parts that once powered the Saturn V rockets into orbit. Each of these F-1 engines burned for only 165 seconds, just under 3 minutes, but those seconds were critical. The F-1S produced over 1.5 million pounds of thrust apiece, propelling the Saturn V rocket to altitudes of more than 60 miles before separating and plummeting into the ocean. They were never designed to be recovered. Once their mission was complete, they were forgotten. That is, until Bezos, a lifelong space enthusiast and the founder of Blue Origin, decided to search for them. The expedition began quietly, funded entirely out of pocket by Bezos himself. With no guarantee of success and no clear knowledge of which Apollo mission the engines belonged to, it was a bold, speculative venture into one of the most inaccessible parts of Earth. Although the exact mission is still being verified, these components could be from any Apollo launch between 1967 and 1973. Early evidence suggests they may be from the legendary Apollo 11 mission, the first time humans walked on the moon. If confirmed, that would mean these pieces were once attached to the rocket that carried Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins to the moon in July of 1969. Even if they're not from Apollo 11, the historical significance remains immense. The F-1 engine was a marvel of 20th century engineering, a liquid-fueled behemoth that remains the most powerful single-chamber liquid-fuel rocket engine ever built. 5 of them were clustered at the base of each Saturn V launch vehicle, combining to generate over 7.5 million pounds of thrust. Without the F-1, there would have been no Apollo missions, no moon landing, no space race victory. But this recovery effort is about more than just historical curiosity, it's also about inspiration. Bezos has announced plans to donate some of the recovered engine components to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., and to Seattle's Museum of Flight. There, the artifacts will be preserved and displayed to the public, a powerful reminder of what human ambition, engineering, and exploration can accomplish. In a statement following the expedition, Bezos reflected on what it felt like to see those massive engine parts rise out of the depths for the first time. The technology, he said, may be ancient by today's standards, but it represents one of humanity's greatest achievements. That's why this expedition matters, not just for space buffs or history lovers, but for anyone who dreams of what's possible. It's also a symbolic bridge between two eras of spaceflight. Bezos, through Blue Origin, is working to build the next generation of rockets and space systems. By recovering the artifacts from Apollo's golden age, he's preserving the legacy that made his own space ambitions possible. It's a full circle moment, the past literally rising from the ocean to meet the future. As for what comes next, researchers will spend months restoring and cataloging the recovered parts. Corrosion from decades underwater is extensive, but experts believe the structural and visual integrity of many components can be preserved through careful conservation. This isn't the first time Bezos has made waves in space exploration, but it may be one of his most meaningful contributions to the cultural and historical record of NASA's greatest era. The Apollo F-1 engines are more than just machinery, they are symbols of what humans can do when we choose to dream big, invest deeply, and aim higher than ever before.